Welcome to the first tutorial for the Ultimate HCG Coach, a new Android application. This tutorial is going to focus on the settings section. When we click on Modify Settings, we are given 6 options. We have round settings, starting weight, goal weight, height, starting measurements, and the number of HCG doses for your HCG diet. We're going to click on Round Settings, item number 1. Now, as you see, I've already added some starting data in here for the purpose of this tutorial. We can set the starting date, or we could set the number of days for the round. I have added a second round, which you can get to by clicking Add a Round. We can use the drop-down list to select our second round. And from here, we could set the start date by clicking this Change Start Date button. We're going to cancel because this information has already been added for you. In here, if you need to set a custom number of days for your HCG diet, say your physician feels that you should only be on the diet for a maximum of 30 days, you would select Custom, enter in your number of days, and press Add Days. You can then save the round. And as you notice here, since we had already had a start date, whenever you change the round settings, it will ask you to update starting records or not to update starting records. This is primarily if you have made a change to the starting date, because it will need to update any weights and measurements you added for that. We're going to go ahead and click Update Starting Records. You notice you get a message that tells you when it has been saved successfully. Now we're going to press the back button. We've got Set Starting Weight. And as you see, I have not yet added a starting weight. Let's say, for instance, you were 165 pounds on July 3rd, which was our starting date. You would enter your weight and press Save Settings. Now, if you recall, for round 2, which has not yet occurred, we did not add a starting date. If we were to select a round to enter weights or even on measurements when we get to the measurement screen and there is no date, it will prompt you that you need to modify your round settings to include a date. If you return, you will not have the option to add a weight because there is no starting date associated with that round. We're going to press back now. And we're going to look at goal weight. Let's say your goal weight was 135 pounds. You would enter 135 and press Save Settings, and you receive the message indicating that it has been saved. Now we're going to go into height settings. Now height settings are in inches. Ultimate HCG Coach does not use metrics. It only uses standard measurements. So you would enter your height in inches. So let's say you were 5'5½". We'll enter 65.5 inches and press Save. And we see that it's been saved. Now let's go back. Item number 5, starting measurements. Now in the starting measurements, you'll see you have 6 different items in here. These items do not all have to be entered in, but for any item you are not going to be tracking, you will want to enter a 0 in so that we can accurately compute the inches lost when you go enter in inches for additional days. Now these measurements are all entered in a decimal percentage. So what you'll need to do is you'll need to figure out, your tape measure may say, for instance, maybe your arm was 12 1/8 inch. You'll want to find out what 1/8 inch is, so you can press your menu button. You'll see you're given 5 options plus a more. You'll want to hit more. And here you'll see you've got Measurements Help. Now the folks at Comos went ahead and they put in measurements for the decimal percentage so that all you have to do is look up, oh, it was 1/8, so it was 0.125. So then you would go back, and for your arm you'd enter 12.125. And you would need to do that for each of your items you would need to put it in as a decimal percentage or a decimal amount. So let's say you had 42.5, and these are not accurate measurements. These are just measurements I'm coming up with at the top of my head, so that you can see how this works. Then we press save, and you'll see you're told that it is saved in the database, and we can return. Our final item in the settings is HCG doses. Now you'll notice that it's automatically set to 3 doses. That's because that's the standard number of doses most people will be having while on the HCG diet. So if you need to change that, you would just change that number and press save. Now one other thing you can notice is when I went into the menu button that settings is available. Settings is available to you from any screen within the application by simply pressing the menu button, and then you'll come back to this Modify Settings page. Thank you for watching the first tutorial for Ultimate HCG Coach, new Android application, available on the Google Market for $4.99 from developer CodeMoose.